All right, guys, Nick Wood here. Today we're going to be doing a niche deep dive. It's been a minute since I've done this. By the way, I am in Dubai. Welcome to Dubai. It's my first time here. I've been here about a week, and it's the laptop lifestyle, guys. When I started 2016, I wanted to make a certain amount of money, which was $100,000 per month. I wanted to be able to do it from anywhere in the world, and I wanted to be able to see the entire world. And here we are, 8 years later, and I'm doing exactly that. It is surreal, and it is amazing, and I'm loving every second of it. But it's all possible because of this model. So couldn't be more excited about it. Want to do a niche deep dive today about a niche I'm very, very familiar with. This is one that I've done not only once, twice. I've built 20, 30, 40, I don't even know the exact number, but a lot of websites in this niche. It was a niche that I thought was the holy grail. I thought it was my baby. I thought I was making a lot of money on it. I was making some. Things changed a bit. I realized that I wasn't making near as much as I thought I was, which sounds funny that I could even be confused, but I was. And I woke up one day and realized that this niche was not my niche, and I'm completely 100% out of it. I have 0 websites, all of my domain, I don't even own the websites anymore because I've changed my mind that much. And we're going to be talking about it today. And that niche, guys, is foundation repair. Now, I got into this niche. I'm going to tell you really quick. I got into this niche on accident. I knocked on a guy's door in Huntsville, Alabama. He had this wrap on his truck, and it was for like a sister service. And through him, I figured out what foundation repair was. Now, that sounds funny because it's a fairly common thing, and but when you're the age I was, and I think I owned like a townhome, I wasn't really that familiar with how foundations worked or anything else, and so I stumbled into this industry, and this gentleman asked me to get him leads in this specific industry. And me being bright-eyed, what do they say, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed is how I was. And I was like, I can get leads in any niche, and I can do this, and I'm whatever. And so I just went for it. And what ended up happening is probably the worst case scenario, long run for me, is my first project actually worked. And you guys are like, man, that's a really negative way to say that. But because my first project worked, it gave me this false sense of confidence, gave me this false information that this was a good niche. And without me doing another 1, 2, 3, or 4 or 5 in some different industry or some different areas and properly testing this out, I just started building. And I just built and built and built and ended up with a portfolio of, I think it was probably close to 50 of these websites. And I'm telling you, as we speak, we don't have any foundation repair deals. I don't even think we have any websites left. That's how much I've changed my mind on it. So I want to talk about the niche. The niche, you guys go look it up. I don't want to get too much into the weeds on what it is. Basically, you're repairing the foundation. Let's say that there's something that moves with the ground or whatever the case is. There's different ways. I'm not going to get into exactly the service, but it checks a lot of boxes. Okay. In fact, this is one of those tricky niches because it looks so good, and and then looking so good, and then it working once just completely threw me off, and where I just went and spent a bunch of money I should have spent. So it's phone driven. You're not going into a storefront looking at foundation repair crews or the equipment that no one cares. Okay, so it's phone driven. It's high ticket. It's very high ticket, right? These jobs cost $20,000, $30,000. Some of these jobs cost $50,000 to repair, and you can't avoid it. If you have a foundation repair problem, you have to get it fixed. If you're selling your house, you have a foundation repair problem, you have to get it fixed. If you're buying a house and there's a foundation repair problem, the person selling it has to get it fixed or you're not going to buy it, right? And you still might not buy it because it's kind of a red flag. It is something that has to be done. Whether there's a recession, whether there's not, you have to get it done because your house is going to get destroyed, period. So another great thing, it's got really good search volume. There is a great need for this service in different parts of the country because of the way that the houses were built and because of the soil, a number of different things, okay? So it checks all of these boxes, right? And that was the confusing part. Is it's high ticket, it's got good volume, it's phone driven. It's not an Instagrammable niche. It's not like, you're not going to get some sexy photos that you're going to throw on Instagram. People are going to be like, let me follow that account. It's not like one of those. And so it looks like the perfect niche. But here's the problem. I believe, number one, is because it's so high ticket, it has now attracted the biggest of the biggest. It has attracted some behemoth companies. It has attracted some companies that have venture capital behind them that are literally ready to take over the entire US. And I know some of these companies, and they have a lot of money, and they are bound and determined to be in every state and in every city and take this portfolio of companies and sell it and make a lot of money. Okay. And they are very hungry. And because of that, they have big marketing budgets, right? And because of that, those big marketing budgets, they also have marketing directors, and those marketing directors, they have certain metrics that they have to live by, and they have. I mean, most of these big companies, guys, they actually own their own marketing company inside of the company. So like they will be the company that's doing foundation repair, and it's so big and they're spending so much on advertising that it makes sense to go and either start or acquire an entire marketing company that just does marketing for their companies. That's the level that we're playing at, guys. And so because it's such a popular service, because it's so high ticket, it has attracted the biggest of the biggest. And because there's so much money in it, much like solar, much like roofing, it is very competitive. And when I say competitive, what I mean by that is, yes, it's competitive when these companies get to the houses and they're giving bids, but it's also very competitive online. People are spending a lot of money on SEO. People are spending a lot of money on ads. People are spending a lot of money to get these leads because they are so valuable. And I'm telling you guys, these companies, because I've worked with them, they know their numbers and they're not stupid. And this isn't little Frank down the street. This is legitimate executives that are sitting there and they know how many they know their lead acquisition cost, and they know how many leads have to come in, and of those leads, how many they have to get a hold of, and how many estimates they have to give, and what the time from estimate to close. Like, they are so dialed in, guys, and this is amazing and it's inspiring and it's fun to work with these guys. But I'm here to tell you guys that it is ultra competitive. And so what ended up happening with me is I started making money in the beginning because I just stumbled into the right city, and the right, like, that niche city combination was just lucky because I didn't even have that good of a due diligence formula, and it gave me a false sense of like I know what I'm doing, and I didn't. And I started building websites in cities that I should have never built in. And do I think there are probably some deals out there that you can that are to be had inside of Foundation Repair? Sure. But I'm telling you guys, because of the companies that I know and what they're trying to do and the marketing budgets they're spending and the things that they're doing and the things they're willing to do, even if they don't actually have success in the beginning, and they're willing to do them for years and years and years, to me, it's not worth the squeeze. And so you could say what you want. Maybe you could say I gave up. Maybe you could say that this, that, and the rest. But for me, my goal is not to prove that I am Mr. SEO. My goal is not to prove that I'm better than the Foundation Repair company's marketing company. My goal is to build an empire of websites, a portfolio of websites, and to build an empire of passive income so that I can buy more assets that make me more money so that I can go and do what I want to do. And because that's my goal, it did not align with my goal to sit there and try and beat these companies. And for me, I'm looking at how many niches there are. I'm looking at, I could spend half the time, a third of the time, make just as much money on the deal, not have constant SEO upkeep, not have to deal with executives, not have to deal with marketing directors that don't give two turds about you, and they'll cut you at any given moment because you're just a vendor. And I've worked with these big companies. It's exciting and it's fun and it's like you feel really cool. I'm working with this big company. But guys, they'll cut you in a heartbeat. They'll cut you in a heartbeat. They don't care. And they will also buy a lot of leads from you, and then they'll cut you. And so anyway, long story short, guys, if you can find cities and you do enough homework, there are some good cities out there that you can find. There's good money to be had. And these companies will pay a lot of money for these leads. The problem is the competition is stiff, and it's getting stiffer. And so for me, as I'm looking at the trajectory of where I'm trying to go, what my goals are, it didn't align. And what I did is I lost a really big client that was paying me quite a bit of money. And I just made the executive decision, you know what? I'm going to build my business brick by brick by brick. Instead of having this company that's paying me all this money, I'm going to have 5 websites in artificial grass. I'm going to have another 7 in, spray foam. and 10 in concrete and this many in tree service, this many in fencing. And I'm going to build this, I'm going to piece together this unbreakable empire. And that's the route that I chose to go. And so with that said, guys, my final takeaway is for me and my house, for me and my company, we have checked out of the foundation repair niche. It checks all the boxes other than, in my opinion, it is so competitive and so high ticket that it has now become a bit branded. And in a lot of these cities, everyone knows the brand, the company to use. And it becomes even harder to generate those leads with a generic website. So guys, that's my take on foundation repair. Try it out if you'd like. I'm out of it. I was in it for a while, made some money, lost some money, learned my lessons, got my scars. I'm on to the next. I'll see you guys in the next video.